Hello, everybody. My name is Travis, and welcome back to another episode of the Pots Up podcast. This week, we are going to be previewing match day 13 in the Serie A. Got some big games coming up this weekend. Going to do a little bit of a deep dive on some of the bigger matches of the weekend, give some betting odds and whatnot like that. And we will start with the league table right now, currently. We have Napoli leading and in first place on 26 points. We have a four-way tie for second between Atalanta, Fiorentina, and Inter and Lazio at 25 points. Juventus is at 24 points in a tie, or sorry, in a standalone position. It says sixth place. You could technically, with the four-way tie at second, say they're in third place. And then we have Milan and Bologna on 18 points with one less match each than the rest of the table. They had a match that they were supposed to play against each other, postponed due to weather. Ninth place Udinese, 16 points. 10th place Empoli, 15 points. 11th place Torino at 14. We have Roma at 12 and 13 points. Parma and Verona in 13th and 14th, respectively, on 12. Three-way tie here. Como, Cagliari, and Genoa on 10 points. And in relegation, we have Lecce, 18th place on 9 points. Monza and Venezia coming through the rear with 8 points. We're going to start our first preview of the week and how we start every podcast because this is mainly an Inter podcast. I'm an Inter fan, so we are going to do more of a deep dive on Inter and try and give our perspective on them. We also include other teams, but tend to stick with the deepest analysis on Inter matches. So Inter is playing at Verona. The game is Saturday at 9 a.m. here if you're on the eastern side of the United States. That would make that a 3 p.m. kickoff in Verona. Inter are coming off of a draw with Napoli, 1-1. Before that, midweek, they had a 1-0 win over Arsenal. Çalhanoğlu returned from injury to give us a 1-0 victory from the spot. Played great that match. Arsenal dominated possession, which we knew coming in what that was going to happen. Inter was great defensively. Standouts were Jan Bisek for sure. Çalhanoğlu was great in the middle of the field. And the only real troubling stuff that Arsenal threw at us were their corner kicks, which I believe they had 14 of them. Seemed like every 5 minutes there was a corner kick or two coming through, and did a great job defending those. Çalhanoğlu, again, the winner there with the penalty kick. In the Napoli match, 1-1. That Çalhanoğlu kick midweek was kind of maybe a foreshadowing of what was going to come. Missed a PK after scoring an absolute banger of a goal in the first half. Napoli scored first. A goal from Scott McTominay off of a set piece. Looked like Rahmani misplayed it, landed right at McTominay, and ended 1-1. Cholito Simeone probably should have had a game winner or a game tire if you think Inter should have scored with Çalhanoğlu's missed penalty. And Buongiorno for Napoli played absolutely brilliant. He was something else that match. Really kept Inter from scoring on some of their chances that they had. Um, some form, we have Inter since the derby against Milan in September. We've gone on to win five in the league, two draws in those 7 games. We've also had 16 goals for and 9 goals against in those 7 games, whereas Verona has 5 losses and 2 wins, 0 draws. They've had some wins though, one over Roma 3-2 and a victory over Venezia, but they've had some really shit losses. One to Monza 3-0. They got demolished by Atalanta 6-1 and also lost 1-0 to Lecce. It is international break, so I figured I'd mention kind of where our players stand this week as far as international break activity. Alessandro Bastoni played both the full 90s and both Italy matches during this international break. Nicolo Barella played 79 minutes and a full 90. Federico Di Marco played 69 minutes and 83. minutes in the two matches, and Davide Fratesi played a full 90 and 67 minutes. We had Marcus Thuram for France play 78 minutes one match and 12 minutes in the other. Denzel Dumfries played a full 90 in the one game that the Netherlands has played so far. Stefan de Vrij did not play that match. They play tomorrow on Tuesday against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Zielinski played 90 in a 5-1 loss against Portugal. Played for Poland. He played the full 90. Funny picture or video coming out of him and Zalewski of Roma, waiting in line to take pictures with Cristiano Ronaldo for that match. Poland plays today against Scotland. That game's actually going on currently. Tejan Buchanan finally returns after 5 months of being off after that knee injury that they thought might be a very long injury. Played 12 minutes for Canada. They play tomorrow against Suriname again. Hakan Çalhanoğlu only played 45 minutes, but came off that match that Turkey played, I believe Friday, due to an injury precaution. We'll touch on that a little bit after we go through these. Well, we'll touch on it now. Ports Hill missed the Verona match that just these reports just came out. Um, doesn't seem like it's going to be too serious. It's maybe a precautionary thing for him to miss the Verona match. Could maybe see him feature midweek against Leipzig. Also coming from the Italy camp, Nicola Barella in the first match against Belgium. Seemed like there were some reports coming out that maybe he had gotten injured as well, but he played against France. So something to keep an eye on as well. We had Christian Aslani for Albania play full 90 in a 0-0 draw versus Czechia. They play tomorrow versus Ukraine. Arnautovic did not play against Kazakhstan, but did play a full 90 against Slovenia. Mediterranean had a crazy match against North Korea for Iran. Played 81 minutes. He had 3 assists. He also had an own goal. He missed a penalty. It was one of those crazy box filler stat sheets with 0 goals. Um, they play Kyrgyzstan, I believe that's how you, or the Kyrgyz Republic, I believe that's how you pronounce that, on Tuesday. And then Lautaro Martinez scored and played a full 90 in a 2-1 loss versus Paraguay or Argentina. They play Peru tomorrow. So, a little bit of interesting things there with Inter as far as their players from international. I'd say expected lineup. Inzaghi, it seems like for Serie A this year, has not wanted to really rotate and play a strong 11, even though we have a midweek game against Leipzig on Tuesday, which could be big. I think he might rotate a little bit, considering some of these minutes, like Bastoni, maybe DiMarco might get a little more rest with reports that Carlos Augusto is back, or Buchanan. Barella might get a little bit of a rest or come off early. I would say expected lineups. I'd say Jan Sommer in goal. And maybe we see Martinez. Who knows? Pavard, who did not go to France, even though I think there were some reports saying he might get called up. Don't think he did for France. Acerbi and Jan Bisek maybe make up that back three, give Bastoni a little bit of a rest. Or maybe, well, yeah, Acerbi isn't playing international football anymore, so De Vrij didn't play. So both of our middle backs, center backs are good. I'd probably see Darmian, maybe Barella, Aslani, Mkhitaryan, Di Marco make up that midfield. Dumfries could play potentially. Depends on how much. Maybe he plays tomorrow. Darmian might be the choice midweek against Leipzig, be a little more tactical. We'll see. And then I think maybe Taremi gets the start, Mehdi Taremi, over Lautaro Martinez alongside Marcus Thuram. So who knows? The odds for this match, we have Inter favorites, obviously minus 310. The draw is at plus 430. Verona at plus 700. Inter are pretty overwhelming favorites. The spread is 1.5. If I believe so, Inter is the only team this week's favored over half a goal. Over-unders at 2.5. My bet of the match, if I was to bet this, which I probably will, just to see how well I do on the weekend, my bet for this match would be both teams to score. If you choose no, that is at plus 100. The reason I think that, the last 4 matches in the league, Inter has only allowed one goal, actually just the last four matches in general, if you include our Arsenal, after the derby against Juventus. Last four matches, Inter's only allowed one goal, and that was Napoli off a set piece. And Inter scores. So I would say both teams will not score this match. I think Inter might win this one, a few goals to zero. I don't see Verona really hurting us too much. Last year, I believe it was a good match though, with Henri missing the penalty at the end after Fratesi uh, game winner, I guess you could say. I believe that was the one where they ran over and pulled his pants down, and he got the tidy whities on. Pretty legendary match for Inter last year. Um, so yeah, that's my bet of the match, and I'd probably take, you know, the spread 1.5. I'd probably avoid that, but I would take maybe over under. Well, no, that would make sense. I'd take just both teams to score no, maybe Inter outright money line. The next big match is Milan versus Juventus. This game is in Milan. It's 12 p.m. Saturday. That Inter match was also at Verona. I think I mentioned that. This one is in the San Siro for Milan. Juve, their form coming off in the last five league matches, they've got 3 wins, 2 draws. The 2 draws were that 4-4 crazy match versus Inter, then a 2-2 draw following that match with Parma. Their 3 wins in that time period, the last five league matches, have been all clean sheet shutouts. Yildiz for Juventus, Kenan Yildiz. He's got 3 goals in 4 matches. Vlahovic hasn't scored a league goal since the Inter match. Last 3 league matches, he has not scored. Juve has 11 goals for, 6 goals against in 5 matches, but again, they have some of those clean sheets. Milan coming off 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. That 1 draw came on their last match day, a 3-3 draw versus Cagliari. They that those 2 goals for Cagliari came from Inter Academy player Daniele Zappa. It was the last one was a brilliant volley. Rafael Leao appears to be back on the squad sheet for Fonseca. So it's going to be an interesting match, this derby. I feel like it just, with Juventus and Milan, both teams, Juventus hasn't been struggling as of late, I guess, but after the Inter match, let's draw with Parma, yeah, they're struggling maybe to score, but they're keeping clean sheets, score as much, maybe, or create as many chances, I guess I would say. Um, so Milan have been conceding a lot lately as well. So this game is going to be interesting. Can Juventus get goals and hold Milan off bay? Can Milan kind of regain that form with Pulisic, Leao, Teo all kind of finally back for them? It's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. Noon match on Saturday. The odds have Milan at plus 120, Juve at plus 215, draw at plus 230. So Milan are actually favored in this one, which might surprise some people. I think it surprises me a little bit as well, but they know something. The spread is at minus half a goal for Milan, over under 2.5. I would say my best bet for this one is Juve plus half a goal on the spread at minus 160. The last 2 games, Juventus have kept a clean sheet and they've scored 4 in those last 2 games. And then Milan last game gave up 3 goals to Cagliari. So if anything, I think Juve's got a couple goals in this match, and it's only if I don't think they're going to concede, 3 goals. Honestly, don't even think they're going to concede 2. So that would be an easy bet in my opinion. Juve plus half a goal at 160. I think that one you could probably put a decent amount of money on and get a pretty good return for that one. We have another big game on Saturday. This is the last game on Saturday, the evening match over in Italy. Atalanta visits Parma Saturday at 2:45. Atalanta, the hottest team in the league, maybe other than Fiorentina. They have 5 wins in the last 5 league games, including a 3-0 win over league leaders currently, Napoli, um, and a 6-1 win over Verona, which we talked about earlier. They have 15 goals for, 2 goals against in their last 5. Parma, 1 win, 1 loss, 3 draws in the last 5. One win was versus Venezia, 2-1, and a 1-0 loss to Genoa. Draws versus Juve, Empoli, and Como. They have 6 goals for, 6 goals against in the last 5 games. I would say the bets we have Atalanta minus 170, Parma plus 410, draws at plus 310, over unders at 3.5. The spread surprisingly is at minus a half a goal for Atalanta at one minus 170. I don't know how the spread's only at minus half a goal. I figured this one would be 1.5 like the Inter match. So I think my best bet for this one and what I'm going to do is I'm going to parlay that Atalanta minus half a goal and Lookman anytime goal scorer. I believe he's got four in the last four, both kind of a skewed statistic. There was two braces in four matches, two games where he didn't score. Sounds better when you say four in the last four, but he has goals in him. Retege is another one. They had the same odds at plus 115 for this one as an anytime goal scorer. If you combine those two, I think it's like plus 136. If you feel more comfortable with Retege than Lookman, either way, I think you can parlay either one of those for an anytime goal scorer. You can put both of them because, I think they're going to have a lot of goals in this one. I wouldn't feel too bad about doing the over under 3.5 as well if you wanted to throw that in as another parlay. Um, so yeah, we can move on to Roma at league leaders Napoli. This is a Sunday match at noon. Napoli last three wins uh, they've had in five, but the last two they have had a loss to Atalanta 3-0, and then the last match day was a 1-1 draw against Inter. Five goals for and four goals against. All of these were in the last, all the goals against were in the last two matches in that time period. So if you take out the last two matches, I guess to give a maybe a better look, it would be four goals for, zero goals against, and then the last two they had four goals against, one goal for. Roma's coming off of firing Ivan Juric after he has had four losses out of five. That only positive result in that 5 game stretch was a 1-0 win versus a Torino team who has not been good since the beginning of the season, since they lost to Ivan Zapata in that game against Inter. They fired Juric, brought in Claudio Ranieri, the Tinkerman, the guy who works miracles from time and time again. If you ask Leicester fans, he was a Chelsea manager, he's manager at Inter, he's manager at Roma, which I will mention him in a special midweek podcast as well that I will detail at the end of this. Stay tuned on that one. I'm excited for it. I'm going to do something. Hopefully, some of you guys enjoy. It's going to be a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, going back to Roma, they lost in back-to-back matches, or they've lost 5-1 to Fiorentina in that five match kind of streak that I mentioned. And the last two matches, they've lost 3-2 to Verona, and last match week lost 3-2 to Bologna. 6 goals for, 12 goals against in the last five matches, just not good. Napoli's favored minus 133, Roma plus 333, draw at plus 255, over unders 2.5. Napoli at minus a half a goal for the spread. Best bet, alternate spread, Napoli minus 1.5 plus 220. That's the one I'm going to go with. Napoli just doesn't let goals in other than that Atalanta match, who Atalanta is putting in goals on everyone since that Inter match that they lost earlier in the season. Atalanta is the informed team. I kind of throw that one out as an outlier. They've allowed, if just one goal in four other matches out of that five. They don't let in goals. Roma leak goals, 12 in their last five. I could see Napoli winning this one a couple goals to nil, maybe let in one goal for Roma, but I see Napoli having a few goals in this. So that minus 1.5 is at 220 if you want to go with that one. We got Lazio versus Bologna. This one is in Rome. This is the last game on Sunday, 2:45. Lazio, last five matches, 4 wins, one loss. That one loss being the 1-0 one to Juventus, where Romagnoli got the red card early, foul against Kalulu. They've beaten Como 5-1. They've got 11 goals for, 3 goals against in the last five matches. Sikanyi's got 2 goals in the last two matches. So if you wanted to maybe anytime goal score him, didn't see what the odds were, but that's another one you could do. Bologna, they're kind of a semi-decent team in form. They've got 3 wins in a row following their 2 draws. So in the last five, they got 3 wins, 2 draws. 3-2 win over Roma last match day out. They've got 8 goals for, 4 goals against in their last four. Bologna, kind of a team on form as well. This is going to be a really interesting match Sunday at 2:45. Might have it on my small screen while I'm watching the Vikings game at 1 this weekend. Lazio and Bologna bets. Lazio's favored minus 110. Bologna's at plus 300. A draw's at plus 240. The over-under is 2.5. Lazio is a half goal favorite at minus 120. Another parlay is going to be my best bet here. I'm going to parlay the over 2.5 at plus 105. If you look, both of them teams have scored in the last four matches, at least averaging almost 2 goals a game in the last four matches. So I think there's going to be lots of goals in this one. And then both teams to score as well. It's at minus 116. So over 2.5 at 105, plus 105, both to score minus 116. Two other games we'll touch on quickly before we touch on the last three games that are kind of duds and wrap this thing up. We got Genoa versus Cagliari. Genoa plus 150, Cagliari plus 180. Draws at plus 210, over under 2.5. Genoa minus half goal favorite, but that's at plus 150. So there's really no favorite in this match. Genoa being plus 150, Cagliari being at plus 180. They're very level. The draw is just at plus 210. There's not much variation here. The best bet, they have Cagliari at plus half a goal at minus 205. So I would bet that or that draw at plus 210. You know, if they're giving Cagliari plus half a goal at minus 205 and Genoa a half goal favorite plus 150, I feel like that's telling me Vegas is expecting a draw. So having that at plus 210, kind of low as well. I would go for that one. That's where I would maybe put my money is on the draw. It's plus money. And then Fiorentina at Como. Fiorentina, another hot team in the league. They've got 6 straight wins in the league, 18 goals for in that time period. So that's 3 goals a game, 4 goals against. That's 3/4 of a goal a game. So they're winning games pretty handily in this run that they've got. They're only at plus 135 favorites, so that's my best bet. Como plus 210, draw plus 205, over under 2.5. Fiorentina spread half a goal plus 125. So yeah, my best bet already, like I said, Fiorentina plus 135. Both teams to score and the over under is just kind of a team prop bet on FanDuel. Is if you hit no, so no for both teams to score and yes to the over on 2.5 goals. So pretty much saying Fiorentina is going to win 3-0 or more. This is a crazy one to look out for. It's at plus 1100. Maybe throw a five or tenner on that. Just say screw it. Wouldn't be absolutely crazy if Fiorentina came out and won 3-0 or 4-0 or something like that. So yeah, that's another one I might throw a little money on. Last games of the week, Torino Monza got plus. That's a draw plus 205. That's the one I'm kind of looking at. Might stay away from that game. Empoli versus Udinese. The under 2.5 is minus 215. Empoli, one of the best defensive teams in Serie A. Udinese, uh, they're just not scoring goals. Definitely won't be able to break down an Empoli team, I don't think. So under 2.5, minus 215 is a good bet. Venezia versus Lecce. Venezia is plus 120 money line. So maybe put your money on that one if you want to. But that's going to be it for the preview, guys. Pretty short episode this week. Just wanted to detail this. I'm going to start something and release my first episode of it maybe Wednesday or Thursday this week, kind of detailing some or like a profile of some of my favorite unheralded Serie A players of the noughties or the mid 2000s or just the 2000s, not the 2010s. We might dive into some 2010s at some point. Might bring some 90s players, but when I first started watching Serie A and really fell in love was that mid 2000s era of Serie A. There were some great players, some great teams that players who won the 2006 World Cup were on several of these teams. Calciopoli happened. Just an all-around crazy period for Italian football in the 2000s. Milan, two um, Champions League, Inter, the treble, four in a row for Inter. Juventus, that Roma team with Battistuta, Cafu, Totti, Cassano, Montella. I mean, just these teams and some great players. And so I'm going to do more of maybe like a deep dive, unheralded players, not the big names, the Di Natales, the Tottis, the Del Pieros, the players like this. I'm going to do maybe some unheralded legends. And I'm going to start out with one of my all-time favorite players. Again, this will be maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Played for Roma, who in the mid 2000s was a big Inter um, kind of rival. You know, we finished first, they finished second 3 or 4 years in that time period. And one of my favorite players always on that team, and I feel like he never got the credit. Never got a cap for Brazil. He was just an all-around good player, hard worker. I would have loved to have had him on Inter at any point in time. Rodrigo Tade, number 11 for Roma, played so many years there. All great, great player. Um, I've been looking for a jersey for Tade, Rodrigo Tade, for a while. Can't find one anywhere. If you guys know where one to find, I would much appreciate it. I would pay some money for this for a jersey, preferably one with like a wind logo. The black would be awesome. A Roma Tade jersey with black and the wind logo. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna start with him. Do a little 10, 15 minute deep dive on Rodrigo Tede, where he came from, his career, what he's doing now. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions of players, comment them. You know, want to do Massimo Macarone, maybe Di Vaio, Sergei Policie, some players like this to, you know, we all know all these other players, but Mikuli, you know, he's one that I wouldn't do, but the streets won't forget. This is an even deeper dive, so hope you guys really enjoy this and might make you become a fan of a team that you maybe even knew you would like or something. So yeah, be on the lookout. Rodrigo Tade profile on Wednesday or Thursday. And again, appreciate all the support. Um, bet along with me. Hopefully we win some money and interact with me. Follow me on YouTube, Spotify, leave some comments. Like, I got Instagram, Patsa_podcast. Appreciate all the support, guys. It's been awesome. Love interacting with the community. And as always, Forza Inter.